have you ever pondered the possibility that the moon landing, one of the most monumental events in human history, was a grand hoax? The question is tantalizing, isn't it? It's the perfect opening scene to a blockbuster movie or a page-turning thriller. But for some, this isn't just a plot for entertainment, it's a genuine belief. Welcome to the fascinating world of the moon landing conspiracy theory, where skeptics question the authenticity of Neil Armstrong's legendary first step on the moon. But why, you might ask? Would anyone want to fake such an event? Well, it's all about context. Picture this. It's the height of the Cold War, and the United States and Russia are locked in a fierce competition to conquer space. Winning this race could mean a significant propaganda victory. Now, let's dive into the evidence that debunks these theories. One of the most popular arguments of the conspiracy theorists is the irregularities in shadows and lighting in the moon landing photos. Let's unravel this mystery. To understand the shadows and lighting in the moon landing photos, we must first comprehend how light behaves on the moon. Unlike Earth, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere to scatter sunlight. As a result, shadows appear much darker and more defined. This explains the stark contrast between light and dark areas in the photographs. Now, regarding the inconsistent shadows that conspiracy theorists often point out, let's dive into some lunar physics. The moon's surface isn't a flat plane but a landscape riddled with hills, craters, and rocks. These irregularities can result in shadows falling at different angles, even if the objects casting them are parallel. As for the lighting, you might wonder why astronauts are visible even when they are in the shadow of the lunar module. The answer lies in the moon's reflective surface. Known as lunar regolith, this surface is composed of tiny glass beads formed by meteor impacts, which reflect sunlight. This reflected light can softly illuminate objects in shadow, creating a fill light effect, much like a photographer would use in a studio. So, the so-called irregularities in the moon landing photos, they're simply a result of the unique lighting conditions on the moon's surface. As you can see, science provides a clear explanation for the shadows and lighting in the moon landing photos. Another argument that often arises is the supposedly fluttering American flag on the moon's surface. Now let's unpack this. The flag used during the Apollo missions was not your typical flag. It was specially designed and constructed for the moon's environment. The flag had a horizontal rod that extended out from the top, meant to keep the flag spread out in the moon's vacuum. Now you might be wondering why the flag appeared to flutter. Well, the answer lies in the fact that the moon is a vacuum, meaning there's no air or wind that could cause a flag to flutter as it would on Earth. So, what caused that fluttering motion we all saw in the footage? Well, when the astronauts were setting up the flag, they had to twist and turn the flagpole into the lunar soil, causing the flag to move. And here's the kicker. Without air resistance to slow down the movement, the flag continued to oscillate long after it had been disturbed. So it wasn't the wind that caused the flag to flutter, as there's no air in the moon's vacuum to carry sound, let alone wind. It was the lack of air resistance and the initial movement caused by the astronauts that made the flag appear as though it was fluttering. So the flag wasn't fluttering due to wind, but rather due to the way it was designed and the lack of air resistance on the moon. A frequent point of contention is the absence of stars in the photographs taken during the moon landing. This curious detail has led many to question the validity of the historic event. However, the explanation behind this anomaly is far from a sinister government cover-up, but instead lies in the realm of science and technology. Let's dive into the details. The cameras used during the Apollo missions were not your typical point-and-shoot. They were specifically modified Hasselblad cameras, designed to withstand the harsh lunar environment. These cameras were set with a relatively fast shutter speed and a small aperture to prevent overexposure of the brightly lit lunar surface. Now, for those unfamiliar with photography, shutter speed and aperture control how much light enters the camera. A fast shutter speed and small aperture allow less light in, necessary for capturing the bright lunar surface without washing out the details. However, this setting is not conducive to capturing the faint light of distant stars. Moreover, the moon's surface is incredibly reflective, due to a phenomenon known as lunar regolith. This glare from the moon's surface would further drown out the already faint starlight, making it virtually impossible for the camera to capture. Therefore, the absence of stars in the photos is not evidence of a hoax, but rather a limitation of the photographic technology of the time. The missing stars in the photographs are a testament to the challenging conditions faced by the astronauts and their equipment, rather than a sign of deception. So, after examining the evidence, can we finally put these moon landing conspiracy theories to rest? Let's take a moment to recap our fascinating journey through the cosmos of conjecture and into the realm of reason. We've navigated the labyrinth of lunar lighting and shadow inconsistencies, a favorite among conspiracy theorists. What did we discover? That the odd angles and strange shadows are simply a result of the moon's unique topography and the sun's position in the lunar sky. Nothing more sinister than that. Then we tackled the fluttering flag. Remember how it danced in the vacuum of space despite there being no wind on the moon? Well, we learned that this was not some Hollywood special effect, but rather a natural result of the flag's construction and the way the astronauts installed it. Next, we turned our gaze to the stars, or rather the lack of them in the moon landing photos. A suspicious omission? Not at all. We found out that the stars were simply too faint to be captured on the astronauts' camera settings, designed to photograph brightly lit lunar landscapes. In short, every seemingly unexplainable anomaly has a logical, scientific explanation. With the power of science and reason, the moon landing stands as a testament to human achievement, not a grand deception. Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery.